close. It's close if you're in it still to the last.
Patriots and whoever else.
Well, it's always the Patriots. The Rams, I think, are playing the Atlanta Falcons. And there's another game for the AFC, Tennessee maybe. I think you might be right.
Some people do eyes or something and they never share them with a third string quarterback.
Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers! Good morning! Hail, hail, the gang's all here. Morning Breakfast Clubbers, morning Breakfast Clubbers. Chow, chow, we all want chow. That's what we're here for now. Have you already ate? Yay. All right, there, we got that song. You know, we're going to have to do the full thing one time. We'll go through like a bunch of songs one of these times just to make you. Okay, what we're going to do is a couple announcements real quick. Next month is the February, we can get going now, Lance is here. The next month is Freedom Summit, and what we're going to do is have the Breakfast Club. I'll get you some kind of discount or something, but the Breakfast Club will be foregone for the Freedom Summit. And what I want to do is I want to give you some of the speakers and what's going on there, and we can go ahead and take payment and stuff now. I'll do that for Mark and Mike Mazda and Mark Victor are putting this one on, and all I got to do is show up this time, so yay, about time. So this is, they did a good job, got really good speakers, so we're going to do that. But Anarchapulco is February 15th. I'm sorry. It's February 15th to the 19th, and there's a lot of events going on there, and I think you should know about them because a lot of the people that are speaking and the issues that are going to be discussed are of great import now as we go into Lord knows what 18 is going to be. In 17, at the beginning of a year ago, we started making a lot of predictions. Well, a lot of the things that have happened, any number you put on anything is totally hadn't happened or went way past or something. Like, for example, Bitcoin was low, and I think Davi said something about 1,800. Oh, it's going to be 1,800, and then it hit 18,000. I mean, you know, that kind of thing. So this has been an excellent year for the demonstration of philosophy and how it manifests itself in the economy. These events are going to emphasize a lot of where we've been, why we're at where we're at, and where we're probably going. But a lot of the things that didn't... I remember reading in the book, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Heinlein. Moon is a Harsh Mistress is a science fiction book from the 60s, I think it was, that very popular with libertarians. And it was the concept of the moon was like a penal colony like Australia was for Europe and Great Britain. What they had done is why, after they'd served their term there, they were so acclimated to the lower gravity that they couldn't leave. And so anyone that served their sentence, it was like a life sentence on the moon anyway, but they would create their own communities and line marriages, plural marriages, multi-marriage, whatever, and have raising kids and farming water and making whatever, and then rail guns shipping it back to Earth and taking their sewage to be able to, you know, for what? There's all kinds of commerce going on. And eventually, there were so many people on the moon that they revolted and declared their independence. Well, they had the help of Mike, an artificial intelligence computer. Mike was on their side. Now, keep in mind, this is the 60s. There has been such advances in artificial intelligence, it's getting to the point that it's starting to hockey stick. Within a day, a year, a decade, and I doubt it's going to be very long, if not already, there will be artificial intelligence that will have the answer to everything according to it, whatever it, you know, its criteria is.
According to it.
Yeah, according to it. So, but what would be the criteria? Who programs that? You know, how do you determine what is good and bad? Wednesday or Thursday, I think it was Wednesday, I had all 4 of our Corsairs kids were here, 4 of my grandchildren from 2 to 8. So they were sitting in the studio, all 4 of them. Any of you guys hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
So I'm just sitting there, okay, how do you know a bad guy? You're talking to 8, 7, 5-year-old kids, and even little Colton had an opinion. So the thing is, I'm going, how do you know somebody's good? How do you know they're bad? And that's really the crux of everything when you're dealing with individuals, societies, children, grandkids. How do you know who the bad guys are? What do you emphasize? What do you focus on? What's important? By their actions. What actions? That do what? So this is where, because of the internet, this is where we're going now. And the article that I wrote for predictions for 2018, I should write more. I just don't have time, and I get to express myself on the radio show. But it's nice to have it in writing because you can index it, you can find it. It's not like you can, pretty soon it's going to be, some title or some phrase or something you put in, and it'll just come up with that segment of the show. Artificial intelligence will just go in and get the words, and that's there. It's all loaded up. Here's the 10-minute segment of Ernie talking about whatever the hell. And, that will come, and we'll be loading that in. We're planning on that kind of technology. But writing, you get the time and the thought to put in, and to do something that'll take you 10 minutes to read, takes you 4 hours to write, What did I want to write about? The title of it, Our Cups Runneth Over. Future Predictions 2018, Ernest Hancock. And the point that I made in the first paragraph, I go, look, it's hard for me to argue whether the cup is half empty or half full when it's sitting at the bottom of the Marianas Trench in the ocean of opportunity. It's so overwhelming, what's going to happen, and governments are just obsolete. They're in the rearview mirror. There's nothing that they're going to be able to do to really help this other than just get in the way. So there's so many technologies that are right on the exponential curve to where we had memory processing back in 67. A gig of memory was like $1 million, $10 million or something. It was something ridiculous. And then every decade it goes down, 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 down. A gig of memory now is like 2 cents. It's getting ridiculously, because you can buy it for $80-something. You can get a 2 terabyte, you get on sale and whatever, 2 terabyte hard drive, and a terabyte is 1,000 gig. So you get, 2,000 gig for kind of what that, it's not much, okay? So a lot of the technology that we held us back in being able to communicate with each other, the speed of what, okay, I'll give you an example. With blockchain technology and doing Bitcoin and all the, look at the peacock back there. His tail's coming back.
Hey, Ernie, time out. Can you remind people to turn their cell phones off? No texting is distracting, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I need to ask this question before I forget, because I want to ask about the thing in Mexico. Excuse me.
She's not bothering you.
Yeah, no.
It's an example of
It's
evil.
distracting.
It's not in the
I'm trying
movies.
to pay attention to you, not people that are texting.
Okay,
Well, then pay attention.
we're not in the movies, man. It's not like a glow face. I don't care.
Sit up here by
as long
me.
as it's not beeping.
Liberty.
Yeah,
Sit up
Liberty.
here. Sit up
Yeah.
here by
it's a
me.
little rude, that's all.
Yeah, real
No,
good.
And I
Yeah,
shot
not like
Let's
you are.
embarrass her. Let's embarrass her, but we won't be rude about it.
You don't know who the president of Zimbabwe is? Hey, everybody, she doesn't know what the president of Zimbabwe is. Yeah, I got that commercial on my radio show. So the main thing that I wanted to, before I was so rudely interrupted.
Thanks, Pat.
Now, where was
Hey,
I?
wait a minute. Weren't there like about 4 or 5 meetings ago when you actually told the people in the audience turn freaking cell phones
Because
off?
they were ringing, and it was mine.
And that was your song.
So this is the prediction for 18 from me is that there's going to be a lot of changes because of the exponential nature of development in speed and power. And one of the things that we talked about, I don't know if you guys remember, in blockchain tech, well, when you're doing flash trading on Wall Street, imagine that this coffee cup is the data center for the New York Stock Exchange. Now, all the data and information gets processed of what is bought, when, by whom, and so on, and transmitted back out. Okay, that's bought and sold and done and transaction over. Well, if I'm Goldman Sachs and I'm right here, the speed of light, very fast, but it is measurable. They have cameras now for years that they are able to see a pulse of light go, bounce off, go back, and you see a pulse of light. You can see it. That slow, perfectly clear, called femto video speed, really fast action cameras. Go do a TED Talk, look it up, camera, speed of light. You do that, and you can see it happening. To a computer, that's like an eon, man. You know, in the movie, how many saw the movie Her with Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix? It was about in the near future where you download an operating system on your computer, answer a few questions, talk to it, boom, it's customized operating system like Siri, talking, hey, what's up? And it was Scarlett Johansson, and they fall in love. Of course, she was in love with 8,000 other people at the same time, but and the speed at which these operating systems, and then they started having their own groups, and they would mimic famous people, and they'd have their own conversations and so on. AI starting to talk to AI. Facebook turned on some AI, and they started, two different ones started communicating with each other and writing their own code for community. And they went, whoa, hell no, boom, shut it off. Because in a nano moment, they could have created their own language, and the answer to the universe was 42 or something, in 15 seconds. So they're just like, man, that got scary. So in the movie Her, what happened is she made one expression. And this is good for you kids, man. This is going to keep you interested. She goes, in this time between the words that you're speaking to me, I am in a universe of possibilities. They are so fast as you see that light going. By the time it goes there and back, and it's 40 yards away, there is an infinite number of possibilities and computations and what's going to happen and everything that artificial intelligence is going to be able to do. When you start getting quantum computing, which gets the speed a lot faster and the parallel processing a lot more, that's going to go stupid. And then they're talking about singularity. The singularity, I'm not sure why they picked that word. Bottom line is that artificial intelligence is smarter than we are. Now they're giving them arms and legs and putting them in sex brothels. I mean, So I'm going to have artificial intelligence knowing I'm not getting that intimate. No. I vote not. God knows what's going to happen very soon. So this is a interesting time. And I was talking about when you have this speed of communication between the source and other people that act on this information, it is worth your while to get between them. So this company wants to be that much closer to the source than here, just for the nano moment that you can get the information faster than this guy. This is happening now. For the past decades, it's called flash trading. So when the information goes into Goldman Sachs, if they get it first, and you're Joe Schmo and you want to buy some stock, they go, yeah, we got it. And the time it takes you to push the button and it goes into the order, they already went and bought it at the cheapest price around here somewhere, comes back, sell it to you for a higher price. Mm-hmm. Patrick Byrne found out that 70% of Wall Street's banks, that's where their profit comes in, is front-running the orders, which is illegal as hell, but that don't mean anything, So he wrote, the gentleman that wrote, I think, The Big Short, did flash trading. Now, this same guy? I don't know if it was or not. Flash trading is a New York Times best-selling book, and he explains, what was happening. In blockchain technology, we talked about this, Jeff Greenspan and I, and because he's in banking IT. And what he pontificated was this. He goes, when we get to quantum computers and the block is instantaneously solved, what's going to be the bottleneck? Now, this is the point. every set of new transactions that happen, they add to the blockchain, this chain of transactions and events, this ledger, every 10 minutes on average. How do they know it's going to be 10 minutes? Because there's a computer problem that they make, if it gets solved in 7 minutes, every 2 weeks they reset. So they'll make it a more difficult problem so that it averages 10 minutes. Or it goes to 12, and then you get this every 10-minute average of this block of information that gets added to the blockchain. What happens when quantum computers starts to hit? It'll hit, and then all of a sudden for that 2 weeks, it'll be instant blocks. It'll just boom, 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 one after another. In 2 weeks, they'll go, whoa, we're increasing the difficulty because damn, so they'll increase the difficulty, but quantum will go past that too. Even with the higher difficulty, it'll still instantaneously correct it, or solve it. Then 2 weeks later, it'll just keep doing this, and the power will go into where this delay will not be there anymore. So what is going to be the delay in the transactions and how fast they do trading and so on with blockchain and quantum computers? It's going to be satellites. As the satellites go around, it's how fast you can transmit light here. Now, they're going to want to do it here in fiber optics down the ground and get closer, but it's still going to be how far can this go here to here to here to Singapore and speed. So what they do is they have satellites. We talked about this, CubeSats, little satellites this big. You can hold in your hand. They're like a cell phone with, solar panels on it that have a string of them around the Earth. They're launching these this year. They already have a bunch up, and it's becoming a whole network. Over the next 3 years, you're going to have Wi-Fi across the planet. Now, the thing is that if you get a little bit lower, just like moving closer to the source here between Goldman Sachs and the New York Stock Exchange, if you can get a little bit lower, you're closer. And your network, it's like a cell towers. Instead of you driving and you go cell tower to cell tower, it's the cell towers are moving and they shift, to you communicating. So it's no different technology. It's just that's the way it's going to work, the switching. So they want to get a little bit closer. Well, to get closer, you start dragging on the atmosphere. You start hitting some molecules. You start getting resistance, and you get slower and slower, and you crash and burn. So what do? They're putting EM drives or ion drives on the back of these little CubeSats, and they have thrusters on the back. And it's like a welding arc, and that welding arc creates ions that they have an electromagnetic nozzle on it, and like a donut thing, and it shoots out these ions out the back. Small thrust, but very fast. So it might be the pressure of a paper clip, but it's continuous, and it's very fast that eventually it can go like half light speed or something, you let it shoot out into the whatever, which they're going to be sending out to asteroids to know which ones to mine and bring that palladium asteroid of now, palladium doesn't cost anything, So this is what's happening now. What I anticipated is that you want a string of satellites. The race is going to be who can get them closer to this, to transmit information. We just had a story on the front page of Freedom's Phoenix 2 days ago. That's exactly what they're doing. They are putting thrusters on these CubeSats so they can get a little closer and catch a little drag of atmosphere and maintain orbit. The speed, the volume, bandwidth of information is going to go like this, and these young guys aren't going to know the difference. They're going to, it was always like that. You didn't always have that information to everything all the time at warp speed.
When you were a kid, you didn't have a computer?
Yeah. I mean, you guys have no idea what it was just, hell, when you just born, This is, I grew up when the first TV game was Pong.
Yeah.
Tennis. Bing, bing, bing. Pac-Man. Woo!
That was great.
Yeah.
And have you guys seen Meet the Goldbergs or whatever? You guys ever watch that? It's about 80. It was February 1980 something, and it was great, And it was just a decade of the 80s in this family. Because what happened is a kid that got a VCR recorder, and he was recording his life, and then he went on to be a television producer, and he made a show about it, and it keeps clipping back at the end little pieces of the actual, footage from his VCR that he made an episode about, So it's just funny. Donna loves it, kids like it, it's all good. But it gives you a window of what was happening in the 80s. So this is when we were raising our kids, and we had just got married. if we're not prepared for this world, if you don't understand what's coming and how, you're going to be roadkill in a lot of different ways, primarily financially. Because financially, they are any and everything, and I know Lance is kicking ass in the stock market and doing great and everything. He's got it going on. But I'm telling you, a lot, Gary's got his thing going on, a lot of retired, the IRAs and the 401s and the whatever. It's so consolidated that they're going to go, and it's ours now. Now, what happened to people in, from 7 to 10, 11, around in there, you can expect again and worse. The thing that Tim Pachote, his libertarian advisor and financial thing, it's all about timing. When did you get nailed? How much did you make before you got nailed? How long do you got to recover before you need access to it? How much did you, so it's all about timing. It always goes up and down and up and down. What always goes up? If you can find that, it's real estate. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay, they say that right until it doesn't, If you can bet on something that goes up, what would it be?
Taxes.
What I've tried to demonstrate is that I, don't get the biggie giant because I'm not wired that way, but the ones that I have always been investing in, and it keeps, accumulating, is freedom, options, choices. If I can invest in something that gives me more choices, that gives me more freedom, more options, it's always pursued, at least as an industry. But freedom is not profitable. You can't charge somebody for all their data and access if they won't let you have it, okay? You can't, the freedom to not have a regulatory requirement or registration of something or ID check of retina scan of anal probe of DNA scan, if you're investing in not doing that, there's no money in it. If you're investing in, we can get everybody's information to, yeah, man, we got, gazillion dollars of government money to get that program going for you, let's get on it. I see it happening when I go to these events and so on. So there is Theo Chino came because he just left this morning. He's a big Bitcoin guy in New York City. He was visiting here because we went to Morpheus's trial, or his hearing. It was Thursday. Thursday was the hearing for Morpheus on a bunch of stuff. The bottom line is they've dismissed anything really to do with Bitcoin in the FinCEN. You have to have a license to transfer or do it. That's gone. Peter Steinman's cases is dismissed. You have the bullets. They had 8 bullets. He was a former felon back in the day of something and shouldn't have and can't have a bullet. Well, they dismissed that, saying that the way they did it wrong, mischarged, whatever. He doesn't have a bullet. And the thing that Theo Chino was going on about is that it's the narrative that the government always uses. Here you have a drug money Bitcoin guy that had bullets. Well, and he must have had a gun somewhere or knew somebody with a gun or knew about guns, so they've got the word gun in, so we got to put it in gun. No guns, no drugs, no alcohol, just some spare bullets in Arizona that's like throwing away quarters or something. That it's like, who would do that? But, that's what they expected. And it was his roommate Bob had, left him there before something. It doesn't matter. They did away with that. But what Theo was saying, the fact that they could marry him to terrorism, money, drug money, and he had a bullet. They were amping up on this bullet thing. It was amazing how much they push on this bullet, because that's part of their narrative.
It was one bullet?
It was 60 bullets, but they had 1 bullet as evidence because they needed one particular brand of bullet that they were sure that came from out of state. So it was in interstate commerce to give them federal jurisdiction over having bullets, all right? So it was 1 bullet that they cared about. So they took away the bullet. This is how the government works. When his defense attorney, I wish he was more articulate, get some Mark Victor in there and animated of, kick-ass, but she was incensed a little bit. She just, like experienced in the theater of it. Because when it comes to the trial and you got a jury, you're going to need to have some theater. Now, the prosecution, they want to get some. They're looking for any and everything and keep their job because, this is not going well for them. So from everything that they got and all the big thing for years of whatever, and we're going to get the drug money and the cartel of it, and then they got Morpheus, and all he was doing was just trading Bitcoin, you know. So it was, they're not doing well. But what they'll do is they want to make a big deal, and they're thinking they're going to get him a plea at the end or something. I don't think Morpheus is going to plea. I mean, I wouldn't mind if he gets some deal, you know, do it, you did your year, and, you know, whatever. But they're going after him to make a point, as they are in Detroit and Miami. One woman, she had Bitcoin, and she sent some money, wired cash. It was in the transaction, you know, I'll explain it in a minute, but she sent it to Pakistan to somebody that she knows. So Bitcoin funds ISIS. This is the headline, okay? She bought Bitcoin with a credit card, converted the Bitcoin and sent it to somewhere, got cash, and Western Union put it in her bank, then the Western Union and sent the money, all in her name. But because it went to Pakistan and there was Bitcoin in there, one of the transactions at some point sometime, all out in the open, boom, she's transmitting Bitcoin to ISIS. It's just the narrative. They're seeing when the Silk Road came and so on, it's all about Bitcoin and drugs. So when did they arrest Morpheus? 4/20.
4/20.
That was when they did the sting and everything. It was April 20th. 4/20 means, you know, it's a big marijuana thing. So this is just theater. Well, the theater's not working in their favor because a year later it goes from $1,200. All of a sudden it's $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, and everybody and their grandma wants to get it. And they're trying to still have the narrative that it's drug money. The reason is because the banks want to take Bitcoin. I get a call from Dara Venetian. She's saying, look, there's people, there are gazillions of dollars, gazillionaires that want to give support and money for us to lobby for the state legislature to start taking cryptocurrency to pay taxes. Because you want to know what a currency is, and you got to pay taxes with it, that'll help. So they go, we got to do support that. And I'm going, no, why? They're going to make you do it. Cryptocurrency is going to be Goldman Sachs coin, and it's coming, and there's nothing you guys can do about it. The only thing is will they make any competing currency illegal? They're already starting to. What they want is, as they're communicating with the central command of whatever the hell, that all the advantages go to they, them, those. There are some videos that we started putting up. There's a 23-year-old kid from Arkansas that took like a 12 by 12 Post-it on the carpet and a pen, and he was just mapping. I did a good job, you know, low tech, just, you know, this is that, and this is what happened and how it's going. And he described exactly what they're doing with this new Lightning network that's coming on. The average transaction, we had Bitcoin paper wallets. Now, remember me talking last time about the time that we had those wallets, and we did them, you know, at the summit. This right here is a paper wallet. Mm-hmm. Public address, I unfold all this as the private address, boom. Well, I had a bunch of these, and I had taken the Bitcoin Gold and the Bitcoin Cash off of them, because, you know, if you have one prior to last August, you had all of them. So I swept it off into my digital wallet. The Bitcoin I left on there because this $1 is now worth like $45, $50 or something, okay? For me to sweep off that, at the time, on Christmas Day, my son came over, and we were making paper wallets to give to, you know, babies. You know, here's $100, it'll be worth a good $1 billion when they retire, kind of thing. It's like, used to be a savings bond. Woo! Yeah, that was just stupid. Anyway, so you do the savings bond that's, you know, it's worth less with inflation than when you know, the full interest compounding on it anyway. It's still crap, but now you're doing cryptocurrencies for kids. So he did that. While he's doing that, on my desk, I had that open with a private key there. Well, just to be a jerk, he goes, oh yeah, blip. Cybersecurity, you didn't do it right, blip. Okay? Well, he thought it would, you know, you have to do an approval or something before it swept into his wallet. Well, he swept it. It took him, went into his wallet. It confirmed pretty quick. $41.27. He got $10 in his wallet, and $31 and something was in transaction fees. The average transaction fees for Bitcoin right now is at least $25, $30. You know, 15. Too much. Others are pennies. Nexus, one of the cryptocurrencies that I know that Al's in, and I got some of, and the Colin Cantrell is a guy that lives in the Valley, does kind of whatever, he comes on the show. It went up like 16 times in like a week. I mean, it's just doing this. Why? Because of its features and a lot of pump, I guess, somebody, you know. But the ones that you invest in that promise the features of freedom, you have a lot better chance of it going up. Ripple. How many people have been hearing about Ripple in the news? Anybody hear about this? Ripple was done about the same time the company even before Bitcoin. And all it was a token that the banks would use, kind of blockchain. It's not even really blockchain, they're pre-mined. And they are a unit of, they're not even of value. They weren't meant to be value. It's to be able to do fast and efficient transfers of verification of balances between banks. So they created 100 billion of them. So that means, you know, the market cap that it's at now, it'd have to be worth more than the entire planet's, you know, trillions of dollars of value. I mean, it's just ridiculous that these things just a month or two ago were like a nickel, and now they're what? Does anybody know what? They're dollars. I mean, it's just gone stupid. Well, a lot of people making money. A friend of mine, I sent him a deal. I go, look, this is the biggest scam there ever was, and admittedly so. It's irrational exuberance. People just want to get in. It's easy to buy, and it's going up. But it is not destined to stay up there, in my opinion. He goes, yep, I put in, you know, a little bit, a few $100s or something. He goes, I just closed it out, made $11,000, and I'm done. Came out ahead. I'm like, good. I feel better. There are many of these, but why? Are you really paying attention? When it starts hitting 15, 18,000, everybody here, you'll have to start buying Bitcoin. Well, then it goes down to 12, you know, then what? Well, it's going back up again, but do you understand why? Do you have any clue? Do you care? You know? So what we were doing and talking years ago when Bitcoin is $100 and something dollars, you know, $200, $300, oh my God, it was under 1,000. When we're going, buy Bitcoin now, put it securely somewhere, sit on, do whatever. The reason was we were on the decentralization of everything, the power that comes down to the individual. If you bet on that, you usually come out ahead, certainly in the long run. Well, now it's going to be saturated with a lot of investment in this way of thinking, because regardless of what Trump and the Western democracies and so on and the banking system is freaking out about, this philosophy is about ready to go this. It already has started. We have, if not right by now, I mean, within a week or so, Elon Musk has just assembled this Falcon Heavy, which is 3 Falcon 9s. You have 9 engines, 9 engines, 9 engines. They're just, and in the top of it, it's going to Mars. He's like, yep, we got to get to Mars. I'm going to show you, do Mars in the orbit market, parking orbit in the Mars, and we're Mars. So what's he going to ship? Usually test stuff, they throw in sandbags or something, you know, or concrete blocks, or just to have. So what is he sending to Mars? Anybody know?
His car.
His Roadster, his first car. It's sitting in there, got the big fairing in, and it's a cavernous thing. It can put like 20 of these cars in there. So this car is just sitting there, and he's sending it to Mars in case, you know, he's going to need a car when he gets there. You know, just sooner or later, Mars will bring that car down, and it's going to be in some museum of freaking, you know, Elon gets to drive his car.
The guys that are there are going to be driving it before he gets there. There's already some people there. That's another story. I have the moon.
And the dark side of the moon. And, well, you know, all this stuff we're going to find out. I can tell you that. On the moon, they found big, giant lava tubes. Lava caves that are kilometers long and, you know, half kilometer wide and high. And it's just, and now they're all of a sudden, they don't have to dig in dirt and get underneath and so on. So they're going, we're going to land there, live in the tubes. Mars has got the same thing. So, in fact, National Geographic with Ron Howard, Opie, you know, that did Apollo 13 and all this kind of stuff. They did a series on National Geographic's like an 8-part series of them colonizing the moon, and they intersperse it with interviews with guys now and what's happening. So the reason at the beginning of January 18, I wanted to go around and everybody get to have a say on what they're prepping for and what they see coming. So I want you guys to be prepped to say, either on record or not, whatever, what you think is going to happen. Because this is, I give you this, and the reason I do this, and we'll kind of come up with an average here. If I asked you a year that something was going to happen, we'd all be pretty accurate, and this is why. If I take a big thing, I remember they did this, it was about this size, this volume, and they filled it with jelly beans. And they go, how many jelly beans are here? Well, some guy, 60,000. Yeah, 400. I mean, it just went all over the place. By the time they asked a couple of hundred people and they put it in, they go, okay, here's the average. They were within 0.5%. It was like 4,200 or something like that. It's amazing the intelligence of the crowd on average. Well, AI does the same kind of thing. They'll use whatever, criteria that they do and they get the exact number. But, with human intelligence or human input and variables on different social things, how do you measure that? You have to have some metric, some information that's coming in, and where does that come from? Facebook, all your text, all your emails, they're reading. When you say they, who's they? It's a computer. It's all being accumulated and in real time. It's like a mood ring for the planet. Literally. They got a mood ring for the planet. The mood ring. That's what we're going to call it. Mood ring. The AI mood ring. So what do you do with that information? Where are they going? When we had the Bill of Rights Day on April 15th, it was at the Orange Tree Resort. How many people went to that? So we have a few people who went to that. Well, you had the 10 amendments.
Don't you mean December the 15th?
What'd I say?
April?
Yeah, December 15th.
Yeah.
So you have, just a couple weeks ago. So you have 10 people up there. The First Amendment, some, publishing guy of whatever. Second Amendment, Second Amendment advocate. I did the third. I'll explain why in a little bit. ACLU lady, she does the, what is the Fourth Amendment? Search and seizure. Then you had, then you had. 10th Amendment is Sheriff Richard Mack. That wants to run against Trent Franks, by the way. I'm sure he needs help with petition signatures. And you have Mark Victor, I think it was a 6th, trial by jury. When we all got done, he got the mic, we stood up on the stage and we were asked questions by the audience and such. Well, I didn't know that we were going to be commenting. Usually we just read the amendment and we're done, right? Well, the thing is that, we stayed up there. Mark gets the mic and he goes, look, I'm bracketed by 2 judges. Trial by jury is a bunch of crap, man. They don't do that anymore. And they keep legislating out and you're never going to get, and this sucks and blah, 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 blah. The judges couldn't wait, man. He goes, wait. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled in so-and-so versus such and such that we don't have to because of whatever kind of, and I'm like, they're making the point. I'm going, yeah, there's always prescribed by law. So then I'm going, all right. I get the mic and I go, I'm glad Mark broke the ice because, damn. I picked, and previously when I read, nobody wants the Third Amendment. It's not sexy enough, right? So I let everybody, I got plenty on each amendment. I can go on and on. But I go, I do the Third Amendment. Why? Because it's quartering of troops. The quartering of troops in people's homes is not a thing, right? Wrong. Whenever they want to surveil a neighbor, they just kick you out of your house. They've done it to me before. We had a guy in a car chase in our front yard years ago, and and I'm like, all right, fine, I didn't make a big deal out of it. But some people go, no, I'm watching The Simpsons, man. I'm not going anywhere. It's my house. You're supposed to protect me from it. Yeah, go protect me from him. I mean, you want to get out of my house. No, bam. And then they started doing, okay, the quartering of troops also relates to National Guard. Oh, it also relates to local law enforcement. Also, they keep challenging and saying, yeah, but we can do it. Yeah, but we can do it. Yeah, but we can do it. Why did they put that amendment in? Prior to the Revolution, you had the Crown issued an act, an edict, or whatever I say, that you have to house our troops. So you had, a family, and all of a sudden you got this young, strapping military red coat living in your attic or your parlor or whatever, and you got some alpha male who's in charge problems. So the people did not like that one little bit. After they did the Constitution, Articles of Confederation, a decade goes by, they do this Constitution secret thing. They come in, illegal as hell, but they come in and they say, all right, we're ratifying it, we're going to do it. Well, Patrick Henry, which was a character there that gave a synopsis of his, he gave a speech in character. Well, a lot of people don't know, Patrick Henry is the longest serving governor in American history. He was governor of Virginia for a long time. Didn't want to have anything to do with the federal government. I smell a rat. That's where that came from. 4 hours, he's going before the assemblage and going, line by line of how jacked up this Constitution thing is. The power to this, the power to that, the power, the power, the power. They're going to this, they're going to that. Hell no. Well, he was right. And he articulated it well. In the papers, you had the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists arguing over it. The Anti-Federalists were the libertarians of the day, and if you read that, everything they said was going to happen has happened, all right? You give them the power to determine whether what they're doing is constitutional or not. Well, guess what's going to happen? So you have they're going to legislate you into a free speech zone, So what Patrick Henry did is they had their own Bill of Rights for the state of Virginia, and that kind of became the basis under which they do the Bill of Rights. The reason they did the Bill of Rights, and it came around, it was the PR marketing campaign for the states to ratify it. Look, see, we had this Bill of Rights, all the 10 thou shalt nots of government. And it was 12, 13, they whittled it down or something. But so they come up with the 10 Bill of Rights. The reason they did the Third Amendment was, no quartering of troops, was because the people were pissed off about that. But what did they put in, what does the amendment say? It reads something like this. It goes, the quartering of troops shall not be allowed or required to quarter troops in your home during times of peace. And during times of war, only as prescribed by law. When have we not been at war?
Right.
And we got a war on terror and drugs is lasting for freaking ever anyway. They always got some executive order of war or something. So they in a time of war. Well, as prescribed, the king prescribed it before. That's what you got y'all pissed off about. You guys are killing me. So when Mark broke the ice on this, I come out and said, look, man, I picked the third because I thought, there's not that much of you. There it is. and I'm telling you, this is not going well. For those of you that were there, all of a sudden, the entire crowd went negative on the Constitution. They violate this, they do this doesn't matter, I can't believe that. It was story after story after story, and it just devolved. At first chance that we're polite and got off the stage and they're going to do the band or whatever the hell else they were doing, presentation, it was time. 3 of the 4 judges left. The only one that stayed was Clint Bullock, the Supreme Court Justice, and I just had him on the show this week, they were talking about it. And because he was a keynote speaker, so he couldn't duck out. But the other judges, they were like, yeah, and we're out of here, okay? For a Bill of Rights, and this was done and sponsored, taken over from Alan Corwin, which he asserted himself from his table as always. But it was done by the 10th Amendment Center. Well, the 10th Amendment Center, they're trying to jockey. We're just going to be Bill of Rights and Constitution and 10th Amendment Center, and the 10th Amendment for the states of the 10th Amendment. Well, to invoke the 10th Amendment, you got to give a crap what the Federals do anyway, or believe anything. Well, the sentiment of the Constitution, Bill of Rights. I'm a Declaration of Independence guy, man. I'm like, none you. But has changed at the heart. A lot of evolutionaries, a lot of Republicans, we had everybody across. We had the First and the Second and the Third and judges and, the Second Amendment crowd, the freedom of and First Amendment expression and trials and lawyers and, doctors and everybody in there at the Orange Tree Resort in the holidays of its nice, pretty lights, and it's over. This is what I'm counting on in 18, is that this sentiment is going to keep building. And you're going to have Trump, representing, we can still use the system, and everybody else that either hates Trump or hates the system or hates what, just kind of been done with it. They're going more global mindset, not as a global government or a global going to fix it, but as a global people movement. Decentralization of everything for everybody. This information is going to, this is the one thing that you'll understand. Out of, let's say, 8 billion people on this planet, almost half of them are not online. They don't have access to the internet. Within a few years, that's going to change. When you have a free market options and solutions out there that you can choose, leave me aloneism, encrypted identities, cryptocurrency that you don't have to have an ID or prove your identity to be able to open, to spend, to sell. When you're in the Congo 13-year-old selling to a 15-year-old in the Amazon, and it being FedEx, when you are in that kind of world and half the planet has now all of these options and ways of living and will make a conscious choice, which way will they choose? And that's what they, them, those are afraid of. Half the planet is yet to come online. Who gets their minds? What's their opinion? How will they communicate? How will they store value? How will they conduct business? What are the regulations in their countries? I had Doug Casey on the show last month, and he goes, "We're privatizing the Solomon Islands." I'm like, what? He's meeting right now. He's going to come on in February, March. He's meeting with the government of the Solomon Islands, which is, I think, Guam is Solomon Islands, Iwo Jima. I think that's where the Solomon Islands are. So he goes, they have their own sovereign country. We're listed on the, freaking UN something. And he goes, they're going to take and do an IPO. They're going to take all the 900 and something islands, and they're going to put them on the stock market and be shares of and buy. Pay off all their debt, got some, and somebody might move there. The point that he's making is you want to kick the living crap out of Singapore. Singapore is only as prosperous as they are more free than all these other countries where they can put their money and not get taxed and this other stuff. So he goes, Solomon Islands, I got it going on for you, man, let's do it. So he's going to come on, we'll talk about that. Just the effort. Because what's happening in French Polynesia right now, off of Tahiti's sea land, that floating country is going off the coast of in French Polynesia. So that's a Peter Thiel's thing, put a bunch of money in that. He put another, tens of millions of dollars into cryptocurrencies. And this is happening now. Where are you guys? So I'm of the opinion that things are going to happen very quickly in 18. To see the future is going to be very obvious what's going to happen. Governments are going to be made obsolete. Voting is going to be anachronistic, and you're going to have your preferences done more with wallet voting than anything else. That's my opinion. Now, share this opinion. We'll do Anarchapulco and go over some of the guests there. Let me tell you some of the people that are speaking at the summit begin a month from now. Now, a keynote speaker on the Friday night opening is going to be Jeffrey Tucker. He's going to be introduced in a short speaking spot for Dr. Jeffrey Singer that's here, that does a lot of, he's a surgeon here, but he's also involved politically, and he's always behind doing the initiatives for elimination of the state income tax and legalizing marijuana. All these marijuana initiatives, prior to the last couple of cycles, was all him and his friends, and sponsored and funded by Sperling, the guy that owns University of Phoenix. A gazillionaire has been put money into that. And that goes back into the 90s. So this battle has been going on for a long time, for a lot. And these guys are Goldwater, Cato, Republican, libertarian wannabe kind of people. So they wouldn't be called anarchists. But so then we have Jeffrey Tucker is with FEE, Foundation for Economic Education. He went over there because he's entertaining. He's always wearing a bow tie. And he's a good, keynote, and he'll get it all pumped up. So we hooked that up. Dr. David Friedman. Now, Friedman is a his father, what's his father's name? Milton Friedman. Milton was his father that, had a lot of, he was like counter to Krugman and Keynesian and all this, but he's still a little bit too much government for me. But, his son is real Austrian economist, so he'll have something to say. Justice Clint Bullock from the Arizona Supreme Court. Now, it's been almost 2 years that he's been on the court. We knew Clint Bullock when we did our first Freedom Summit just a few weeks after 9/11 in 01. And at that time, he was just moved here from Washington, representing the Institute for Justice. The Institute for Justice is, advocating for people to be able to have their own businesses, to be able to, braid hair without a license because they don't teach that anyway, or keep your Bailey's brake shop, we get, eminent domain. There's a lot of rights issues they'll take on, make a big deal out of. They always take on the good cases they know is going to be good PR and they're going to kick ass. Well, they moved to Phoenix, and the first year that they came, one of the satellite offices here, we had Clint Bullock speak. Well, he got involved in politics. His wife is running as a Republican legislator coming up, and he had to get a waiver from the Supreme Court. There's something that you couldn't be a judge and have, it was some weird, it's kind of, man, you better give me a ruling or we're going to court and sue on it. So anyway, now he gets to stay married to her and her run for office. So Clint got appointed by Ducey, Supreme Court, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Well, he had been fighting for a lot of freedom-oriented stuff and the constitutional law challenges at Goldwater Institute and so on. Well, Ducey is kind of, leaning a little bit libertarian, wants to be a freedom guy. So Clint Bullock, becomes a justice. So we had him on the show this last week, and he started sending me some of the decisions, his dissents on a lot of people. So he's having some influence, and he'll talk there. Judge John Buttrick. John Buttrick ran for governor in governor as a libertarian when I ran for Secretary of State. We're good friends. He went on to get him out of politics in the late 90s. Governor Jane Hull appointed him to the Superior Court bench. Then he retired from that, got his 10-year retirement of I got my some goodies. Then he went on the federal bench at Arizona District out of Yuma. He would do that 10 years. He got that retirement. So the boy's retired with some extra retirement of let's go see what we can do. What's he now? He's Arizona State Chair of the Libertarian Party, just holding the space there until the elections this end of January as the Arizona State Libertarian Convention. And it's a long story, but he really wants to be more on national. He's on the Judiciary Committee, the Libertarian National Committee, and he wants to be a member at large on the LNC, and we'll see if we make that happen in New Orleans. We'll talk about that. So here we have a Arizona Supreme Court Justice and a retired federal judge magistrate that was on the Superior Court, and both of them are libertarian. Now, Bullock will go, well, I'm a constitutional conservative of whatever the hell he wants to call himself. But this just demonstrates some change. Now, Mark Victor, my partner on the Freedom Summit, he wanted to do a Freedom Summit that kind of emphasized these changes, that we have these people in prominent positions, and that Mark Victor, too, can be a Supreme Court justice. I mean, so that's what we're going for, I guess. The only real activists in here would be me and this other gentleman. Activist Maj Touré. He's a black man out of Philadelphia, and he's known as the Prophet of Philadelphia, where he's featured on front page magazines and CNN and Fox and all that kind of stuff for his support of the Second Amendment in troubled neighborhoods. He goes, look, man, cops don't even come anymore, So being a Second Amendment advocate as a black man is really, giving him some attention. An economist named Edward Stringham, he was a new guy, up-and-comer, that they want, like Ayn Rand, she would always go to the universities and wanted to get the thinkers, the psychiatrists, the psychologists, that this altruism and sacrifice was a mental disorder. You know, that selfishness was, you know, that's how humanity worked. You acted what you perceived in your self-interest and blah, blah, blah. So then she would do screenplays and go to Hollywood and movies and The Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged, and all this kind of stuff. That was her bailiwick. That's where she had her influence. Well, a lot of these other guys are working on economics. You know, after economics, we can see what's going to come, economics. Well, one of the young guys, right, we used out of graduate school, so on Edward Stringham, about a decade ago or so, we had him speak at a Freedom Summit. Well, he's coming back and share with what he's learned and what's happened over the last decade as him being an academic in, you know, economics. So that'll be interesting. Then, of course, Mark Victor, he's always entertaining, has lots of stories. Avvocato Alessandro Fusillo from Italia. Alessandro's a good friend that Mark and I have made. He's an attorney that lives in Rome primarily, has homes in the Canary Islands. He has offices in Rome, Berlin, and Madrid. And I think he's opened one in Munich too. So his whole thing is the European continent up there is that he's trying to get libertarians to keep their money. The rich guys of how different we moved the money and did kind of what Tim is doing with the crypto now. Alessandro, we'll have him on this next week or so, it looks like, and have all the guys on before the summit to promote it on the show. But his thing is Catalonia is just representative of a much larger thing that's going on throughout the world, especially Europe. Catalonia is where Barcelona is, and it's the economic driver, you know, pretty much of Spain. Well, Catalonia, the Catalonians are not necessarily Spanish or French or whatever, they're their own kind of ethnicity and certainly their own culture. So they go, we want to be out. We're seceding. We're done. You guys go be communist and all the fires and the Islamic terrorism going on in Paris and kind of peace out. You know, we're over here and Madrid can have it and we're over here now. Well, it would be like Alberta trying to secede from Canada because that's where all the mining and the money and the logging and the economic kind of stuff is. You're not allowed. Well, you can go, but we get all your stuff. I mean, something. So Catalonia had a big secession movement, and finally they decided that they're just going to put it up for a vote of the people, and we're just voting to secede. When they did that, Spain still has a king. You know, like England has a queen. You know, they kind of raise their head when they need to. But they sent in the troops, and they had guys with MP5s or whatever machine guns pointing at old ladies' heads, and they're dragging people out of the polling stations that they couldn't vote on their independence. Well, that pissed off a bunch of people, and it was like 85% or so. It was overwhelming, and we're done. Well, then they come in and they arrested all the politicians that were in support of the secession of voting, all right? So they arrest all these guys. They're still in jail. The prime minister, the head guy of Catalonia, went to Brussels, the European Union, and goes, hey, we're self-determining here. Are you guys for freedom or not? Because with Catalonia, they'll go, yeah, well, as soon as we leave them, we want to join the European Union and be free. God, anyway, so that is kind of the mindset there now. Well, the way the Constitution was, Spain could come in and say, nope, you're not allowed to leave, we're in charge, and they populate the Parliament. They take over the Parliament, and the first thing they do is they have a new election. They just had that election December 22nd, a week or two ago. When they did that, the majority party that took over were the secessionists, so they're going right through it again. This is representative of something larger. 2 years ago at the Bilderberger meeting, Luke Radowski from We Are Change talked about the precariat. They had to deal with the precariat. This populist movement of Brexit and Trump and people want to secede and all this kind of stuff. We got to get a handle on this. How are we going to have one world government and nobody wants to be even with their own country? So we got to deal with this precariat. Now, what the hell is a precariat? That's why we named the ship the precariat. It's those young people with all this education, school debt, and no job, and they live a precarious existence. Well, that's what's happening. So when we had, there was a gentleman that was doing a film out of Australia, came here, and he was touring, and he came through here, and he goes, precariat? Why the precariat? And I told him, he goes, wow, we know that word. That's how they're using it. Man, you kind of pegged that one up ahead of time. You smart boy. So that's one reason why I wanted to name it the precariat, because I knew that term was going to be searched like all hell within a couple of years. Here it comes. And what are they going to find? PiratesWithoutBorders.com, first, second, third, fourth, fifth letter of Captain Mark, and we're free and decentralization, everything, and bite me. They don't want this ideology coming in, and it's going to be everywhere. This is going to be the battle. For the next 3 billion people that come online, is there enough of the truth button left there that they can find the concept of leave me aloneism? And what will they choose? And why? What happens? Oh, we can put you on the system, but you have to have your retina scan, DNA sample, fingerprints, and you get an account and prove who you are and here, and you're on the man's money that we can always flip you off when we want to. Or, bite me and you're 13 years old and anybody can work a smartphone, you can create a cyber account and cryptocurrency and trade and do and shit whatever you want. Nobody even know who you are with no barrier to boundaries to entry. You can do that. Guess what's going to happen? They're going to try, those that will leave us alone, the governments and corporations of the information of we rule you, are going to do everything they can to try and prevent that. That's where the battle is. Last night they had a hacker maker thing. Last night I didn't go to it, but Theo and Doug from Westside Bitcoins went. He had like 30 guys there, and he goes, "Wow, you guys are much higher tech." And I go, "Why? What were they doing?" They were working on things for facial recognition. I go, "For the man?" He goes, "I don't know, man, but they were really going high tech on, facial recognition, little hacking stuff or whatever." What did he come in with? We have a little box. I can go get it, but we have a little. Yeah, I should go get it. We have a. Keith, would you go in that little box that has the pirate box thing in? Theo said he put it. It might be in the studio somewhere. What we're doing is we want to have the ability to communicate without permissions or borders or boundaries or censorship or logging or whatever. And how would we do that? They came up with a device. It's a server router. It's just a little, looks like a battery charger, little box that puts out a Wi-Fi signal. So if you go and you say, "I'm in the jury pool of whatever at the building Who Gives a Crap," and I go, "What's the Wi-Fi here?" What's the first thing kids do? They want to check the Wi-Fi. Open up their computer to, any and everybody. Let's do it in the federal building. That'd be a good idea. So you go in. Is that what you do? Do you look for the Wi-Fi? You look for the Wi-Fi. All of a sudden, the Wi-Fi comes up, and what does it say? It says juror information. Okay, I'm in the jury thing. I'll hit the jury information. So I go, you go, boom. And then whatever files that we have on there, and this is what they were doing last night, hooking it up. This is the router. You can put whatever information you want on there with this little USB. Gigs of information, PDFs, pages, videos, whatever you want. Answers to the test. I mean, you put it in your locker at school. Well, did I say that out loud? Yeah. Imagine this goes in your locker at school, and it has, I don't know, whatever the heck you want. Comic books. I mean, films, movies, taking pictures of teachers sleeping in class. I mean, whatever goes on here. You have a battery pack, 20,000 milliamps to last days. I have ones I just ordered now. One side is a solar panel. You get this out in the solar, this thing will just go forever. Where do you put it? Little pirate communication box. It's all set. Just like this, I can just set it up above something, and the ceiling tiles connected to the whatever, on the parking garage, the roof of my trunk, of the whatever. And you have it accessible to a school, to a jury, to a prison, I mean, whatever. And you got Wi-Fi of whatever information that you want, and you can have it titled that Wi-Fi, whatever, jury information. Okay, I'm in jury by boom. There it is. You only need one of 12 to understand go not guilty. They were building a bunch of these right now, and they have the files they just finished last night to load this for it to be able to broadcast. But it's being done in Canada, America, South America. This kind of information, this method of getting stuff out is what they're afraid of. So what are they going to do? They, them, those. Is there going to be enough potential jurors get this information that it really has an impact? I don't know. It only takes one, but that's not the point. the judges and these guys, they're going to find out sooner or later this signal's coming in and they see what they have available. And it's all truth.
Right.
The jury, it's true. You can say not guilty because I think the law is misapplied and you guys suck. It's the truth. They're going to freak out because of the truth. You're jury tampering. You can't do this. Oh my God, I can't. You're telling them the truth. Yes, we are. It's not this that's going to be the power. The power is how they react to this. And they can't not. That's how they operate. This is how we operate. So, we'll be doing a big raiser for this, and kind of once we get it all done and it's done. Because how we found out about it was a politician, an elected representative of the Free State Project, in the New Hampshire legislature, sent me a picture of this with the Wi-Fi, opened up the indexing on his smartphone, and it had, fully informed jury information, the first letter of Captain Mark, the second letter of Captain Mark, and they call it the pirate box. That's what this thing is called originally. It's called the pirate box. This is the kind of thing, it's information and the accessibility to it. And when they get it and it's on their phone, and they go back to their Wi-Fi or they go to their, Verizon or whatever, who might they share this information with? See, it's not how many that they do. It's the fear and the finger to the man that they can't stand. They have to go. They're going to charge somebody with something. Well, then we get exponential more coverage of this. And who did it? They're going to blame me? It's all legal stuff. I can make 15 gazillion kits of this. What you guys do with them, I don't care. Not my problem. Oh, with the case. This case, nice case. Harbor Freight, $9. Okay? I go, are you kidding me?
Waterproof.
Waterproof. Airtight. I have to have this, atmospheric equalizer so I can open the damn thing when I go to the mountains kind of deal. Okay? So this is, this whole thing with that router, the USB with gigs of information, the battery backup, everything, case, how much you think this cost me?
50.
$100.
Under $50.
Wow.
50.
How much?
50.
50.
Wow.
I think it was more like 35 or something. But the thing is, we'll say under 50. So I just want you to understand the power that we have with information. Now, if I was to be a bad guy, and was in high school or something, and wanted to have whatever, and I wanted to whatever, you could put the entire school newspaper, but the real stories that the sponsor wouldn't let you put in, go on to that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Information, because I remember even in the late 80s, I graduated high school in 79, when you had friends on the newspaper, and I did the newspaper for one semester, and I'm like, I'm out of here, because it wasn't really ours. We're just the minions so that the administration go around and show their buddies, oh, look at the great paper our guys did the way I wanted them to. I'm going, no. So we did ditto machine stuff. We had all kinds of crap that we'd send out. This is the ditto machine.
Yeah.
I can put anything I want, put it in the parking lot in my car, in the trunk, and have it there for anybody to go and get. Hell, I can put it inside the ceiling tiles of my locker or whatever.
What's the distance on the Wi-Fi? Any idea?
That's one thing that Derek is working on now. It has a distance of about, I don't know, it's 100 feet or 200 or something. You get in that building, you're covered. But he's working on the antenna. Because you can get the distance. That's one thing they want to control. It's like, whoa, we don't want you being able to broadcast for just these kinds of reasons.
They'll DF it too.
So it's so there's that. That's what hackers are for. We're having some fun. Robert Anthony Peters is the vice president of the Fully Informed Jury Association. Will be at the Freedom Summit. You think we might tell him about this? Have a demonstration model, hold it, show it up. What will he say?
Turn it on.
Or not? You never know. Well, we don't advocate telling people the truth without permission of the court. I mean, what are they going to say? I go, you want activism? You want to kick ass? Here, got it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You going to endorse it? You going to put it on your webpage? You going to talk about it? We got the files right here. You going to put it in download? What are you going to do? We're going to find out. See my point? So Charles Goyette, he's going to be speaking. Right? That'll be great. Professor Butler Schaefer, and then of course myself. So that's the Freedom Summit, $125. So that would be, and it's all in one Friday night and all day Saturday. So that's, you're going to get a dose of the perspective of libertarians in the freedom-oriented community that have made it into the system. Judges, lawyers, professors, economists. These are the perspective from inside the machine of people that we know, of crazy wacko libertarians out here, and of people that we have. I come on the show, they talk, they teach. It is there. And the Freedom Summit is because what we called it, how we did it, where the great minds of liberty come together. The Attorneys for Freedom law firm and ASU, Sandra Day O'Connor hosting the yada yada. So he did that. There was, if you go into the about on the Freedom Summit, it has a great paragraph that basically says what we're about and why. But the main thing is there's no central plan for freedom. Everybody's going to say, follow my plan. If everybody gave 5 minutes and $5 to my plan, we'd all be free. Okay? So not so much. Now, Anarchapulco is way more, we don't care if you're inside. This is life outside of a system. This is life to where you're private in your communications, in your finances, where you live. But, gosh darn it, you got to get a passport. So a lot of these guys, they get passports from St. Kitts, another country, or this, or that, and so on. So they're working on different things there. But a lot of these crypto guys are now filthy, stinking rich. What do? Well, Tim Pachote, we hooked him up. He's going to be speaking probably a couple of times at this thing, during the Anarchapulco and at the Dollar Vigilante Financial Investment Summit. Because he's talking about a way legally to bring in your crypto and not have to pay $1 billion in capital gains and so on. Now, the speakers for Anarchapulco, I'll just go over them, and some of these guys you know and some you may not. It's might be surprising to other people, but not to us, because we know the influence that these guys have had on the movement, like Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin. The hell are they doing at an Anarchapulco thing? Well, these guys, a lot of these kind of guys go each year. Then you have Larkin Rose, of course. See myself, some of these other guys Jeffrey Tucker, you might recognize. Rick Falkvenier, which is the founder of the Pirate Party out of Europe. He's going to be one of the speakers. Kokesh will be there. Jeff Berwick, of course, the Dollar Vigilante. Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus, that owns Bitcoin.com. And I'll tell you a little story about him in a little bit. Luke Rudowski from We Are Change. And a bunch of other names that you guys don't know. But it's on and on and on of freedom's the answer, what's the question? Now, Roger Ver has Bitcoin.com, but he's not so much a fan of Bitcoin as he is Bitcoin Cash, the one that kind of, has gone off of the bankster one. They are sponsoring my son Corsair's winged little sprint car. So they'll have this next week, it's all wrapped, it's all designed and done, the parts are in, he's assembling it, and you're going to have this little sprint car that's going to be Bitcoin Cash to the moon, Bitcoin Cash is king, and got his Corsair logos and whatever, and we're going to be going to racetracks, and we'll have a bunch of pictures, and it'll be fun, and we're kicking ass and got a race car. What fun might we have? I don't know. There is a battle coming on right now for the heart, the mind, the soul of. But it's all about a philosophy. So what I wanted to do is, with this background and my predictions of what's going to be of interest in 2018, and the bottom line is this. It's not going to be lobbying for laws. It's not going to be campaigning for individuals, though we may get involved in campaigns just to have fun, put signs up. It's not going to be about how we're going to be ruled. It's going to be about how we are able to rule ourselves. There isn't going to be this knee-jerk reaction to look in the blue pages for the permission slip from the government agency of whatever the hell. It's going to be, can I? Yeah, well then I just did. Well, the man's going to go, where's your permission slip for that? And you go, what permission slip? And why are you talking to me? And how do you even know that I did it? People are being more careful. They're going to have to be in light of what's happened to Morpheus. He was very open about this. when they do these things, they don't realize that they do two things. One, like with the Silk Road, they advertise that the capability is there. Two, they popularize it. Well, they can't do that because they're secret and they get to do and nobody gets to tell them not and we don't get our cut. And they go, really? Stuff starts getting developed that way. They start making, even though these venture capitalists come in with all these hackathons and so on and DEF CONs, and they get these guys to code for what they want them to do to enslave us more, which is what Theo was saying last night. They're focused on facial recognition and how it can be sold as a software and capability to some industry that wants the law enforcement or something. And they go, the hell are you doing that for? What happens when you come in with stuff like this, or a mindset of freeing people? Will they take the paycheck during the day and code for enslaving people while they create an off-ramp? A competing digital option? That's what Pirates Without Borders is all about. We're there, going to these conferences and so on, and try to put some philosophy in the minds of these people with the ability to do the coding to choose freedom, or at least have that as an option. So that is where the battle is. That's where I'm going to be engaging in 18. So I wanted to go around and just, everybody say, yo, what's up? And where plans that you have, if you're willing to share, what you think is going to happen in 18. Are you comfortable? You're just sitting, you're there for the entertainment and watch how it goes? Or is there something that you want to share, what you're looking for, a trigger for you, where you might change, move, teach? I'm just curious, because 18, it's going to be really fast. There's a lot of people, based on what we had talked about and stuff on the show, for a cryptocurrency called Nexus. Nexus is, tries to take a lot of these aspects of things and put them into one cryptocurrency, or a way of communicating that can be private, and pirate currency and pirate money and pirate communication and that kind of thing. Well, it just all of a sudden it went from like, $1 or something to 16 or whatever. I mean, it's just, well, a lot of these are doing that. A lot of them will pump and they'll dump and they'll go up and down. Which are the ones that go up and then stay, or go down a little bit and they just keep going? Every single time, it's the ones that have more to do with individual liberty and leave me aloneism. Dash, Monero, Bitcoin Cash. These things that come out and they shoot up, and they can't suppress them. They can't make them crash. They can't do away with them. They can't make them go away, because they have traits that people want. So I just want to get, and Trump, we do the Trump report every Thursday, and Trump is like, he's been there a year. I'm sorry, Pat, he's probably not going anywhere. And every effort that they do, it just shows just how scumbag, the other guys are. The more investigation, it's like, are you kidding me?
I don't want Trump going anywhere. I want Trump there for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I liked having Arpaio around. He was a good poster child for the state. But anyway, so you have a movie I saw last night. I watched it, the Tom Cruise movie about America Made. And it was all about the CIA doing gun and drug trafficking in Nicaragua and Mena, Arkansas, and how Israel and all that and everything.
The Barry Seal movie?
Barry Seal movie.
What's it called?
Tom Cruise, American Made. So I watched this and I'm like, holy crap. And you are a conspiracy nut if you believed in this until they made this movie. You were a nut. Now, how did he get they showed the one where the Arkansas Attorney General, she's got, Seal sitting there. Was it Bobby, right? Bobby Seal, Tom Cruise, Barry Seal. Barry Seal, the Tom Cruise character, he has his airport hangar that he owned, paid for by the CIA, by the way, that he owned in Mena, Arkansas, while the drugs were coming in and out. And they had these twin-engine planes that just fly above the waves, and they were just, it was like a railroad car, line of them, coming in and out and in and out and in and out. They even brought Contras in onto the airport to train. This is all this Ollie North stuff back in the day. In and out, in and out, in and out. One night, all of a sudden, here it comes. FBI, DEA, and BATF, all, without knowing each other, raid him on the same evening. No, it's our bus. No, it's ours. No, we get it. We get some. And then the state police come in. We get some. They go to the in the office of the attorney general there, or assistant attorney general, whatever, for Arkansas, and Cruz County just, look, man, I'll give you all a free caddy. I'm gonna take it. Well, you bribing us? No, just for your troubles. You should take it, because I'm gonna walk out of here. Bill Clinton's on the phone.
Yeah.
A couple of minutes go by, she comes out, he's free to leave. In the movie.
Right.
You said this stuff a decade ago at Arizona Breakfast Clubs, and we had guys come. Hell, even Arpaio. I was there on the head table at the spaghetti company. We did a big Arizona Breakfast Club thing there one evening. It was Arpaio and his wife and Donna and I here, and Francis Barwood, which was city councilman of Phoenix at the time. We're doing the whole thing up there, and they get up and somebody said, you know, what about the drug running when you were DEA, Mr. Arpaio, Barry Seal, the kind of one? No, that would never happen. We'd never do that. Never.
Right.
2 weeks later, he was at the Breakfast Club. You know, that was another event. It was a supper deal. Then we had the Breakfast Club. Somebody asked a similar question up, and he goes, well, the CIA had a different agenda than the DEA. He knew. He's all part of this thing. They all are. But you're a nut until the movie's made with Tom Cruise. Were those people that were advocating this and telling this and dying because of this, and of course he was eventually assassinated, but you know, those people that are dying because of this information, or saying it or not saying the truth, they're a conspiracy nut now, like they were then. All of a sudden, are you thinking they're not crazy anymore? Or you kind of shift your thinking they were crazy for bringing it up? Or crazy for going up against the trend? Or crazy for telling, you know, the truth in an empire of lies? You know, that's treason. These same kinds, they keep saying, oh, that was back then. You know, the Church Commission, of the COINTELPRO, of them going after, and now they got a new movie called, it's a series. I haven't even watched it. I didn't know what it was about. It's called Underwood or something like that. It's all about the CIA and MK Ultra and the brain LSD crap that was going on in the 60s. It's a freaking series on Netflix. Yeah, Underwood, is that what it was? I'm like, when are you not nuts? After Ridley Scott makes the movie? After Ron Howard does it? After, Stone? Oliver Stone? I mean, when is it you're not nuts anymore?
Well, part of it, Ernie, because nobody reads anymore. All that information was available for years.
But it wasn't the guy on the television that sat there and said it and validated and it was so. But the whole new generation is coming to where they don't care or even know about these people. You have a mushroom cloud, you got 10, 20 million people maybe tuning in to the news out of 300 and something million that's waiting for the Facebook. Well, then now Zuckerberg rules everything. There is an awakening coming, and people keep thinking in terms of America and Western democracies. And you have such a large number of people that are going to make enormous changes because they can. They can communicate with each other, they can do commerce, and they can bypass. So I don't give a crap how big Amazon thinks they are, that's when they go. And they are. They're big, and they got, you know, the CIA next drone strike on their servers, you know, sitting there right now next to my movie watching, you know. So this is going to be changing a lot. But what is it? It's a philosophy that you can bet on. That's what I'm encouraging you to do at 18. Find and learn about the philosophy of leave me aloneism. If you invest in that at the right time in the right way, you know, you'll be way better off. And you'll be doing good. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show a free market financial support for the concepts of decentralization. And when you have these different companies, there's one called Filecoin The largest initial coin offering ever was like almost $300 million. That happened, boom, and it was all on a decentralized internet promise. Why? Just a promise, just a white paper, just a concept. Boom, everybody put into it. Why? Because that's what they want. Is that what some talking head is telling them? Let me tell you what talking heads are telling you. You need to get some Ripple. You need to bank cryptocurrency. It has nothing to do with nothing. People are going to get burned on this one, and you sit back and you're like, what the hell? So I want to give you guys, we'll just go around real quick, and I just want people to just add in, 2018, you expect what? You're looking forward to what? You're preparing for what? Just, quickie, and lead us off. Pat, what do you think, man?
Oh, I'm looking forward to the GOP getting way more disgraced in 2018 than the Democrats, who will be
So it's a comparative thing?
close behind. And I'm hoping for a sea change in the elections of 2018 and especially 2020, so that the Democrats, who I really don't like, but they're better than the other guys. I hope the Democrats do better.
Thank you very much. So
You're welcome.
you're looking for, you're hoping or you expect? What do you, there's a difference. What do you think's going to happen?
I'd say there's probably about a 70-75% chance that both the House and that one of the House or the Senate will go to the Democrats in 18, and both will go to the Democrats in 2020.
Okay, so it's a political solution you're looking for.
I'm not really looking for a political solution, but right now, I feel that with the little bit of power that I have, that's all I can look forward to. Because me personally, I can't do much.
You, sir, what do you think? 18.
Me personally can't do anything either, but I'm kind of looking at it more from the spiritual side. Line up with Revelation, but you can't see it's coming at it. It's a battle for the mind, and the love of money is the root of all evil. It seems to power all these people. I think it's going to be economic attacks plus military, and I don't know what's going on. I have no idea.
I'm thinking the spiritual aspect, a lot of people are it's going to get decentralized down to an individual relationship with, whatever deity, Christ, prophet, something that's going to be more of a personal thing. And that's where I have a lot of hope for that. And I think there's something real, and it's an individual thing and you got to come to it yourself. But this organizer, they take that hardwiring that we have, that reality, and they try and collectivize it and put a handle on it and have you vote with it or something. Yeah. And I go, that is going away. It's going to be more individual and it's going to be more truth. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to find out that we really are connected in some physical, metaphysical, spiritual, tangible way. And when that is done, then we're really screwed, because they probably already know and they're just screwing with us, that way. So we'll get our independence sooner or later. Gary?
I'm not looking forward to 2018 because I think the solution for government is always war is the health of the state. And with the economy in a precarious position, I think they're going to turn to a war to distract people and beat the patriotic drums.
You'll pay attention to our mushroom cloud, damn it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's why for years I've always said, I go, Golden Gate Bridge, St. Louis Arch, toast. Why? Just like the World Trade Center. They need some middle America iconic, landmarking, we detonated a nuclear and made Yosemite blow up or something. There's something that's going to happen because they can't allow it to go on this trajectory and let the people express their own desires and work amongst themselves without interference. I think people are going to be able to bypass them. Technology is just going to go way past them. They're just going to be irrelevant. And then you're going to have large corporations to deal with that are tied with the government anyway. But it is going to go down to the individual. I'm interested to see what happens. How?
Next is $500 minimum.
And what are you going to do with your billions of dollars?
That's a secret.
Philippines and lots of foot massages. All right. Mike, go ahead.
What's a $500 minimum?
Nexus.
Nexus.
It's a cryptocurrency that's shooting up for hopefully good reasons. Mike?
Well, we are more connected than we understand. And I'll give you just right now a very much today example. I've been thinking the last couple of weeks that what we need is a bumper sticker that kind of sums it all up that says something like, leave us alone. And here you're talking about leave us alone as a meme for the year.
That's what, I'm a leave me alonist, you know, I just put that on my bumper.
Right, yeah. So, but let me add just a tad more to it. One of the things I think is going to happen is that we're going to see the precipitous. We already are seeing that the Democratic Party is crumbling into mutual collapse, and I think pretty much 2018 is going to see the historical end, as we know it, of the Democratic Party as a majority, as a viable majority party. They'll never recover. The label has been totally destroyed. We're going to see Clinton's in the jail. We're going to see Clinton in jail, and that's pretty much the end of the Democratic Party.
I think it'll alter a great deal. This is the one thing that I had Gerald Salente on. He does future trends, or trendsresearch.com. His whole thing is about the future. The one thing that he was amped up on, I'm going, is this wishful thinking or is this prediction? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what? You got to get between the two here.
You can.
He was really pushing the idea that there is going to be a whopping kick-ass third party, something's going to take over, and here it comes.
Blockchain democracy.
Yeah, he was all about the accuracy of the vote too, using blockchain democracy.
That's essential. That is absolutely essential that we get it.
Well, I've been screaming that forever, right? They got a computer. I don't believe them. I go, is it computer? Is it government? I'm not allowed. It's not transparent. We have John Brakey on. He was in Alabama right now. They're still doing the appeals and everything on this Judge Moore vote. Right. Because what were they asking? And this is progressive guys. They're going, we want the... when you do votes now, to get them accurate, you take the physical paper and it's photo scanned by a flash, goes boom, and it takes a picture of it, and the picture of all the ballots here, they get marked with a barcode, and a barcode that goes onto the digital image. That digital image goes into a hard drive. That is what's counted, okay? So what he's saying is that this paper that you'll just run it through the machine again, and it spits out whatever you say it does. I go, they've done this and provided this mechanism so that it can be audited from anybody's couch. You know, they just get the images, doesn't have the name or who voted or anything, but it's the official stack that's in this hard drive. Well, you can download it, you know, into your computer on your couch and sit there and physically go through and count everyone. I audited it. Yeah. Well, what they were doing is they were going, all right, here's the total, and then they were deleting the file. Well, the judge says, you can't delete that file. That's what you counted. That's, the public record of you got a blah, blah, blah. Man, not so much. They just didn't do it. So he goes, well, then I want all it. So that's the battle going on. Right. And what happened, the Audit AZ, which is John Brakey and crowd we've worked with for years, and they did a film called Fatally Flawed here on the corruption in Arizona and how this went all the way up to the governor's office, and it's bad. But what happened in deposition, they get the guy that actually, push the buttons and the clerk's office done, and he did a meltdown in deposition. It was awesome, So what we're looking at is you have the opportunity to be able, anybody can audit it and have some kind of, faith in the system, but that very trait is what they're turning off, and judges say, even when the judges say keep it, they're not doing it. They go, yeah, what are you going to do? What's the penalty for not doing it? What's the penalty for not doing what the hell I tell you? They go, well, we did it, but didn't do it right or in time or anybody knew, and it's gone. So this is what's happening. Who's doing this? A progressive, Democrat-loving left, John Brakey, where the Democrat guy won, and he's still hammering to get the accuracy of this. Would it benefit Judge We Hate the Republican more? So that's the respect I got for John and the crowd. Yeah, right. That's not their focus. Their focus was the accuracy in the election. So what should they do, Pat? Drop that? Because Judge Moore might win?
No.
Yeah, maybe not.
Let me just say one more thing. I want you to get this idea. Right now we've got Sessions, whoever he is, now wrapping up a campaign or releasing his prosecutors to go after
marijuana.
Yes. So, leave us alone as kind of a
You know,
bumper sticker that even state governors could get behind.
you know, what do you think? Is Trump really behind Sessions doing this?
No.
You know, I think he's giving him rope to hang himself so he can get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, this is just them being stupid. You know, and Trump is all about letting them be stupid.
Yeah.
Well, they make fun of him not spelling right on Twitter or something, you know?
Yep.
And he can control the news cycle 24, 48, 72 hour, easy. Just look what I say this about that. Well, the Sessions thing, I don't know what's coming, but I know Big Pharma is not digging it. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm looking to invest for the first time ever in my life, so I have no idea what I'm doing. As far as what's going on, I really do agree with you, Ernie, about the spiritual warfare aspect of it. I think that's a huge part of it, and I think that with the amping up of, like, you know, the attacks against anything having to do with freedom and anything, like, from coming from the other side, it's really deep and complex. And I think that, you know, I'm not a big, huge Trump supporter, but I do believe they are going to try really hard to say he's crazy, which I don't agree with. I think he's smart. I don't think he's, like, out to hurt us. At least I don't think so. That's pretty much what I think.
You know, one of the things, Theo's here, he's an elected Democratic precinct, whatever the heck, in the Democratic Party in New York City. And he says the respect that he and a lot of people have for Trump, you know, because they're from New York and you hate him or you love him, and they were taught to hate him. But developer and all that kind of Republican, president, all that stuff. And he goes, he's the only politician in recent memory that did what he actually said he was going to do. And that's the one thing that, as a, you know, a campaigner for a lot of the Democrats, is they always lie. At a default, they never do what they say they're going to do. They never represent the issues that they say they're going to represent, you know. And he goes, Trump is actually doing the stuff. So he's like, damn, I'm what he said, you know. At least that he's doing what he's saying. So that respect, I don't know how that plays in the future. James, go ahead.
I just guess I don't have any hope that they'll get the Clintons at all.
Could you speak up, please?
I don't think they'll get the crooks. I think they'll just delay and delay and delay and talk.
Yeah.
Here.
You know, my thing is that I'm looking to ignore them. I just want them to not have power over me. And that's punishment enough for them. They can't stand that. You take away their influence, you know, like the Clintons now are not, you know, they're pariahs. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to make a comeback. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so either, but I don't think they'll get for all the crimes that they have been doing. For a long
You know, it would be good to see justice and, you know, like Hannity going, you know, Hillary's going to jail. Well, I'm breath. But
No,
I'm not that vindictive. I think, you know, they did because they can, and there's a bunch of other people to blame, and they were just insulation for, and I don't care. I just want the freedom of the individual, and I'm not for, like, going around killing all the plantation owners. I don't care. Free the slaves and we're done, and they can be, you know, begging on their corner for something. I got more energy to deal about something else, but, you know, there may be some justice coming. I don't know what you think, Jim.
I guess you want to see the 9/11 Truth movie?
A real one?
a real one.
Real one.
I know, there's so many, the 9/11 stuff, especially dramatized there, it's just so, it's coming out though. I mean, a lot of stuff is coming out that didn't happen before. Lance, what about you, man?
Oh, I don't want to be a downer here. We've been trying to do this, educate people for 40 years, Ernie. I hope it turns around like you're saying, but I'm always amazed by the capacity of the young people that enslave themselves.
Amen.
School system is supporting.
Yeah,
Voluntarily.
it depends what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for people to make the right decision, you think of how they're going to be ruled or who they vote for or what system they advocate or something, that's not a win to me. You know, when they come to the realization they don't have to anything. They don't have to sign up for anything. They don't have to participate. They don't have to pay anything. They just do and live and be left alone. When that happens, when they advocate for that, that's the win. So a lot of people are looking for We were at the Bill of Rights Day celebration at the resort, and they come in and I hear them saying the same things they always say. Look at the average age in here. Where's the young? And I go, where were you during the Ron Paul Revolution? You had thousands with 24-hour notice, 5,000, 10,000 people show up at the average age of 20-nothing, and they were just excited and kicking ass, and you beat it out of them. They're not allowed. It doesn't matter what you say. You don't get to have a say. You're not doing it right. You need to be our Indian to me being chief, and you kind of blah, 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 blah. So don't tell me the youth aren't there. No, Alex, you get to have a thing. I want to hear yours, buddy. I want to hear your prediction, 18. Now it's building up to you. So this is what I see. Whenever they say that the youth aren't going to, they already did. But it was ignored. No matter how many tens of thousands at events, no matter how many millions, no matter how many people were waving signs for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Making signs.
Yeah, making signs. The camera fraud thing. No, cameras on the freeways. The Ron Paul Revolution, twice. Whatever happened with Rand, whatever that was. Involved in, libertarianitis of whatever the hell the next thing. It's happened, but it's ignored because it didn't do what you wanted it to. What did you want it to do, Lance?
Well, those same kids went out and borrowed themselves into debt for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
Made slaves out of themselves the rest of their lives, borrowing $100,000 for school. So they had time to wave signs and stuff.
No.
They're slaves now. Slaves the rest of their life.
Here we have Peter Thiel, almost kind of knows how to spell libertarian, and he goes up and he says, these kids, I'm going to give you $100,000 to not go to university. All these smart guys, that was a thing. Remember that? He goes, here's $100,000. Go pursue. Why are you wasting your time there? You're too smart to go to school. This trend is increasing. This trend, this awareness, this knowledge that I could get a degree, all of MIT lectures are online for free.
That's right. Open courseware.
This is happening now. To think these kids ain't, that's the precariat. Well, the precariat is a generation that's being bypassed. These kids, my grandkids, are not going to be enamored with some degree. It's not going to solve anything. It's not going to be their ultimate solution, and they know it. So the system that you're talking about, they're into the system, got from the system, they're getting screwed by the system. I think a significant portion, it didn't even take a majority. It just takes, so my thing with the legislature, and when I had Judge Bullock on, I go, I've been to the Arizona Supreme Court and argued before them 3 times. And I go, let me tell you what number 4 is going to be. It's going to be, you pissed me off because I got my own property and land that I'm not able to use or do something with because you guys keep saying I can't and I'm supposed to be in a free country, and the Declaration of Rights and Article 2 or whatever it is of the Arizona Constitution, I'm going right here, has all this stuff thou shalt do and not do. And I go, you're not doing it, and homie's going to be there, and you're going to have to say, what are you going to say? I want you to say it! What are you going to say, Clint? That's what's coming. It's just an attitude. And I am of the opinion that it is changing a lot. And there's a lot of supporting evidence for it, but it's not a majority. It's not the government policy. I can guarantee you that. It's not that I'm looking to change the legislature. They're going to represent whatever parade they want to jump in front of. That parade has to be created by us. And it's going to be a parade of opinion. And the general opinion, just leave me aloneism. I'll do it myself. I don't need you. I'm not harming anybody. That is what's changing. Now, how that manifests itself, it'd be a lot of different ways, like Trump getting elected or something. I mean, there's big things that are happening, like cryptocurrencies taking over the headlines. They would never have thought that. When we did on Pi Day, 3/14/15, remember?
Yes.
I was telling you guys, I'm going, look, man, I don't think you guys really... Exactly what I'm saying right now is exactly what I was saying then. It is a decentralization of everything, including your currency. And when that happens, what happens? I don't know, but it's going to be different. And you're seeing it, the birth pangs right now. And you're not. And if you're not seeing it, what are you looking at? What are you expecting was going to happen?
One world economy.
Well,
Be honest.
give me one world government, I give you one world evolution. Because that's exactly what they're wanting to do. They're going to want Bitcoin to be the one world currency of we rule you and know and everything over here. And you go, oh, okay, but we got one over here that's not. Now what? Well, that's illegal. Like we care. Or thought you weren't going to do that. You, sir. But welcome. What's your name?
Ron.
I'm sorry?
Ron.
Lon?
R-O-N.
R-O-N.
Ron. Hi, Ron.
We're not going to see artificial general intelligence this year, or the singularity, or a self-aware computer, but we are going to see government increasingly use task-based artificial intelligence on a specific task, whether it's some kind of surveillance or monitoring large amounts of data. That's going to increase over the next couple years, and that's going to be countered by us using the secondary effects of the internet, like Bitcoin, the whole concept, or education through the Open University, all these secondary effects of the internet, and that's where the big fight's going to be. It's going to be freedom versus control.
You know, that's what it's always been, and I think you're right. It's going to be a big awareness this year.
It's coming to a head.
Yeah. I think it's already there. You know, if they can talk about it and spell it, DARPA's already got it. You know, but I think it's going to become, you know, a political issue in 18, but only if somebody embraces it as an issue. I know what side will they take? You know, government not be allowed, or we should be able to be legal to evade it or something? Can we, you know, request, will Samsung give us a smart TV that doesn't have a camera looking at us? I mean, you know, can I have that option, please? I just...
Privacy is the issue.
Yeah, I think privacy is going to be a big thing. Yvonne, what do you think, Yvonne?
There is no privacy.
Exposure.
Yes, there
is.
The exposure of pedophiles, and if you're a government official doing something wrong, it's going to be exposed. It's going to be exposed.
You know, they have been, and I know a lot of the older guys been around, it was always exposed. It was just never prosecuted.
And they're going to be shamed and exposed because people are getting sick and tired of it.
But the internet, now it's being prosecuted, hopefully. All right, Alex, Keith, I want to get your guys, while you're over there saving the planet.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
I just need to know what you're planning for in prediction for 18.
I'm going to really do good on the waltz, the foxtrot, the tango, and East Coast swing. And Yvonne, we're going to dance after this meeting.
I may not be able to.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know. Gosh. Yeah, I'd be curious with the predictions last year, if what happened.
Yeah,
but,
I'm going to have to look them up.
Yeah. No, I don't have.
All right, Alex, come give us what for, man. Mr. Alt-Right.
We didn't get the microphone.
Alex, the alternative right.
Yeah, be nice. You're on video.
So my prediction for 2018: keep an eye on the alt-right. Chris Cantwell. I think that's the breakaway of the Libertarian Party. I think the future is the alt-right, and I think the Libertarianism needs to go back to more to the fundamentals that it was originally under Ron Paul, and not so much of this leftist, commie type of libertarianism. So that's my prediction.
So it spans. Well, thanks for coming. Next month we're going to do, if those of you that want to go to the Freedom Summit, just go to freedomsummit.com and you can do all your tickets and everything there, and then you'll get right straight into it. I mean, I'll take your money now, but, you know, that probably won't be a good idea. Frank's going to do the winners and have a final say here. Go, Frank.
I don't know about this final business. At my age, it's coming quick. All right, we got 3 numbers here. First choice is 8291.
Oh, come on, Frank.
What? 291. Well, so I got it. There you go. Take yours to get.
Cool, man.
I gotta return that book that I got the other one.
Okay, 8299. 8299.
We have a winner.
Hey, got one back there. Good. And 8286. 8286.
There you go.
Oh, how about that? We got winners all over the place here today. And I don't know about this final bit, but we'll see you in maybe 2 months from now.
March. First Saturday in March, we'll do it again. You know, I got some books, iPencil by Leonard Reed from the Fee Foundation. And my granddaughter, she's 8 years old, she writes, and we were talking about it. And she goes, Dad, you know, do you have a book for me to read, Papa? Something on, like, politics or something? And she's 8 years old. And I go, as a matter of fact, I do. So I gave her iPencil while I was editing the show when they came on. She went and read it. Came back, and we're going over it, and I go, I was a little bit more advanced, and, I had some words that she probably didn't know. So we went through and found a video on YouTube for them to watch. And the whole point about it is that no one person could even make a pencil. It's how do you mine the metal, and you make the rubber, and you cull the trees, and you feed the loggers, and so to understand how complex an economy is, and she understood it. Her and her brother, and he wanted to get in on it. He's 7. So iPencil. Sometimes these books, you see something that you share with the little kids, because 20 years from now, they're going to be in charge.
It's a scary thought.
Not to train them, right?
I know.